Did you know that the average American spends over $500 a year on their garden? That's a lot of green for some green. This might seem surprising, but when you start to consider the cumulative costs of plants, soil, fertilizers, and water, it all adds up. Not to mention the expensive gardening tools and maintenance. But fear not, green thumbs. This video will show you how to garden on a budget. Opening. The first step to gardening on a budget is selecting cost-effective plants. When it comes to gardening on a budget, the plants you choose can make a significant difference. It's not just about picking the cheapest ones at the nursery. Instead, it's about selecting plants that are low maintenance, resistant to pests, and thrive in your local climate. Let's begin with low maintenance plants. These are the plants that require less attention, less water, and less pruning. Succulents, for instance, are quite popular for their low maintenance nature. They can tolerate dry conditions and require minimal watering. Perennials like lavender, sage, and thyme are also excellent choices. They not only add color and fragrance to your garden but also come back year after year, giving you more bang for your buck. Next, we have pest-resistant plants. These are the plants that naturally deter pests, thus reducing the need for expensive pesticides. Marigolds, for instance, are known to repel a variety of insects. Similarly, herbs like basil and mint are excellent for keeping mosquitoes at bay. And then, we have the plants that are suited to your local climate. These are the plants that can withstand the usual weather conditions in your area. Whether it's the scorching heat of summer, the freezing cold of winter, or the heavy rainfall in monsoon. For instance, if you live in a region with hot, dry summers, go for drought-tolerant plants like yucca or agave. If you live in a colder region, opt for hardy plants like conifers or rhododendrons that can endure low temperatures. Lastly, consider native plants. These plants are adapted to the local soil and climate conditions, making them easier to grow and less expensive to maintain. Plus, they contribute to the local ecosystem by providing food and shelter for local wildlife. In conclusion, when selecting plants for your garden, consider their maintenance needs, pest resistance, suitability to your local climate, and their native status. This way, you'll be able to create a beautiful garden without breaking the bank. Closing. Remember, a cheap plant that thrives is better than an expensive one that wilts. Next, let's talk about soil. Did you know you can make your own soil mixture and save a ton? One of the secrets to a thriving garden is quality soil, but oftentimes buying bags of commercial soil can quickly add up. Luckily, we can create our own nutrient-rich soil mixture using materials that are readily available, and sometimes even free. The first ingredient in our DIY soil mix is compost. Compost is a gardener's gold. It's rich in nutrients and beneficial microbes that help plants grow. You can make your own compost pile at home using kitchen scraps like vegetable peelings, coffee grounds, and eggshells. Even yard waste like grass clippings and fallen leaves can be composted. Just remember to turn your compost pile regularly to help it decompose. Next up is leaf mold. Despite its off-putting name, leaf mold is simply decomposed leaves, and it's fantastic for improving soil structure and water retention. To make leaf mold, all you need to do is collect fallen leaves, moisten them, and let them decompose in a bag or a pile. It can take anywhere from 6 months to a year, but the result is a rich, crumbly material that your plants will love. Adding some garden soil to your mixture can also be beneficial, as it contains native microorganisms and minerals. Just make sure it's free of any disease or pests. Now let's talk about proportions. A good rule of thumb is to mix equal parts of compost, leaf mold, and garden soil. You can adjust the proportions based on your plant's needs. For instance, plants that love well-drained soil might appreciate a little more leaf mold. And there you have it. A DIY soil mixture that's not only cost-effective but also packed with everything your plants need to thrive. Remember, good soil is the foundation of a healthy garden, so don't skimp on it. With a little effort, you can create nutrient-rich soil without breaking the bank. Don't throw away those eggshells or coffee grounds. They have a second life in your garden. When it comes to gardening, your trash can be your treasure. Household items that you would normally discard can be recycled and repurposed for your garden. Let's explore how. Take eggshells, for instance. Rich in calcium, eggshells can be a great addition to your compost pile or directly to the soil. Simply rinse them, let them dry, and crush them into a fine powder. This helps in strengthening the cell walls of your plants, promoting healthier growth. And what about those coffee grounds that you chuck in the bin every morning? Well, they're full of nitrogen, a nutrient that plants love. You can mix coffee grounds into your soil to add nutrients and improve its structure. Just remember to rinse them first to remove any acidity. But it's not just kitchen waste that can be useful. Cardboard, for example, is a fantastic tool for weed suppression. If you have weeds popping up in your garden, just lay down some cardboard and cover it with a layer of mulch. The cardboard will block the sunlight, effectively killing off the weeds while decomposing and adding organic matter to your soil. In the same vein, newspaper can be used to create biodegradable plant pots. Simply roll up the sheets around a small jar, tape it in place, and you have a perfect little home for your seedlings. When it's time to plant them out, just pop the whole thing into the ground. The newspaper will break down naturally, causing minimal disturbance to the roots. Old plastic containers can be transformed into small greenhouses for your seedlings, and even old CDs can be hung from trees to deter birds. So next time you're about to throw something away, take a moment to consider if it could have a second life in your garden. Recycling household items not only saves you money but also helps the environment. Water and fertilizer can be expensive, but there are ways to minimize these costs. Let's dive into some clever ways to conserve water and create homemade fertilizers that keep your plants thriving and your budget intact. First, let's talk about water conservation. Mulch is a fantastic ally here. Covering your soil with a layer of mulch helps retain moisture, reducing the amount of water your plants need. It also keeps the weeds at bay, which means less competition for water. But what about when there's plenty of water falling from the sky? That's right, don't let that rainwater go to waste. Collecting rainwater is a frugal and eco-friendly way to water your plants. You can use anything from a simple bucket to a more complex rain barrel system. And remember, watering your plants at the right time can make a significant difference. Watering early in the morning or late in the evening when temperatures are cooler minimizes evaporation. It's like getting more bang for your water buck. Now let's shift gears to fertilizers. Commercial fertilizers can be pricey and sometimes harsh. But guess what? You can make your own nutrient-rich concoction right at home. Composting is a process you can start right now. It's as simple as gathering kitchen scraps like fruit peels, coffee grounds, and eggshells. Over time, these materials break down into a rich, fertile compost that your plants will love. Another homemade fertilizer option is worm castings. Yes, you heard that right. Worms. These little creatures turn your kitchen scraps into a superfood for your plants, and they work their magic right in a simple box in your backyard. But wait, there's more. Did you know that used tea leaves and coffee grounds can also be used directly in your garden? They add valuable nutrients to the soil and help improve its structure. With these tips, you can keep your plants healthy and your wallet happy. So, go ahead and give these tricks a try. You might just find that gardening on a budget is not only possible, but it can be a fun and rewarding challenge as well. Gardening doesn't have to be an expensive hobby. With these tips, anyone can create a beautiful garden on a budget. Let's do a quick recap. We started off by emphasizing the importance of selecting cost-effective plants. Remember, it's not about choosing the cheapest plants, rather, it's about selecting those that will thrive in your local climate and soil conditions. Our second tip was all about DIY soil mixtures. As we've discussed, making your own soil mix can not only save you money, but it can also provide your plants with the exact nutrients they need to thrive. We then moved on to recycling household items for gardening. This is a creative and eco-friendly way to save money. From using old containers as plant pots to transforming kitchen scraps into compost, the possibilities are endless. And finally, we discussed how to save on water and fertilizer costs. Efficient watering techniques and homemade fertilizers can go a long way in maintaining a healthy garden while keeping your expenses low. We hope that these tips have shown you that budget-friendly gardening is within everyone's reach. It's not about spending less, but about spending smart. It's about understanding the needs of your plants, recycling what you have, and making the most of your resources. If you found these tips helpful, give this video a like. Share it with your fellow gardeners, and don't forget to subscribe for more money-saving gardening tips. Happy gardening!